Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Prophecy Update. As always, it's our desire to bring the events that are happening in the world from a biblical perspective and also a prophetic perspective. So thanks for joining us this week. What we're going to look at tonight is I'm actually going to interview a real IDF soldier right on the ground in the Gaza area. And I interviewed him for about 22 minutes, and you're going to listen to this interview. It's a friend of our ministries. His name is Uriel is his full name. And he is fighting with the IDF against Hamas, and we're going to interview with him. And we're going to talk to you about ways you can help the IDF, ways you can help Israel in this broadcast. And then we're going to also look about what's going on in the world with the worldwide anti-Semitism that we're seeing and how this plays into biblical prophecy, okay? So it's going to be an exciting prophecy update. We're going to hear on the ground what's going on, and I think you'll really enjoy the interview.
But I've been so encouraged by what I've heard from Marcy, connecting more with her, and just hearing about what you guys are doing as a church, as a community, standing with the Jewish people, standing with us in Israel, even hearing about stuff like putting flags on your lawns and just being willing to say, no, we're going to stand with you guys. We're going to take an actual practical, physical stand. That's just been an incredible encouragement here. You know, there's, as we all know, there's so much we're seeing evil in a whole new way. We're seeing evil emerge in a way that we haven't in many, many years. But to know that there's those who are willing to take a stand with us has been a great encouragement to our soul. So I'll just start that off there and let Randy take it from there. But I appreciate you guys so much. And we can get into the needs, but thank you for staying with us, genuinely.
You betcha. Thank you. Randy, go ahead, man.
I work with a youth and soldier organization. We do conferences and nationwide here in Israel, and we kind of froze everything when this whole thing started because we got all kinds of phone calls from our believing soldiers. We probably estimate that there's around 630 believers who are in reserves right now.
Wow.
And we're in contact with a lot of them, but we just, in the very beginning, we started getting all these requests for things that they needed because they weren't home. They were called up very fast. They couldn't take a lot of things with them, and then they were placed in different areas throughout Israel, spreading them out. And then we just automatically, just because we got phone calls from the organization, we just started handing out our personal stuff, handing out stuff that we had in our containers, camp equipment for kids that we started giving to soldiers. And it's been like that now for about a month. The first 2 weeks were kind of hectic, but right now it's been in for about a month. And so we're still trying to see, again, like Gabi said, all the needs are changing. So we're constantly just trying, they need jackets now. They needed warm blankets. They need sleeping bags. So we were really trying to, and just throwing everything in a truck and then driving it out and going to all the different stops so it has really changed.
Okay.
But it is good just to see how the soldiers are very courageous. They I think a lot of the believers also understand that it's very spiritual.
Yeah.
And that it's very strong and it's not just political. And so there's a lot of prayer going out. And so, that's kind of what's going on the ground.
Okay. What are some of those items? I know I was told that they need, like blankets and different things. What are the specific items are they needing?
Well, it really, and just like Gabi said, it does change. Like right now we're going into the cold season, and then we started getting different texts like, do you guys have any like Acamol or Advils? Do you guys have any cold stuff? Do you have any nutrient drinks? Do you have any immune system drinks? Vitamin C's? So like that'll change without the time. Or sometimes, a lot of times if it's starting to get cold, so in the Hermon, northern Lebanon area, praise the Lord, Hezbollah hasn't started completely with a war with them yet. But they're starting to say it's starting to get cold. So we're giving them gloves. We're giving them, again, there's just equipment that just kind of goes in and out. And again, it's also hard to get it here in Israel because it's all bought out. So vests is still something that needed, ceramic plates that are approved by the military. Those are also things that we're just always trying to get out to the soldiers.
Now, Randy and Gabi, go ahead. If you're going to say something, go ahead.
I'll just add briefly. Thank you. I just to give context even to like how we're finding about the needs, what's going on here. I think it'd be helpful to understand that Randy is, or the COO, Randy. I don't know what your official title is, but Randy's second in command of this organization, Tiva, that again have been building relationships with soldiers for years. Pre-military programs, actually making sure they're they're equipped spiritually, practically ready to go into a season that just really will challenge them at every level. As believers, going into the military can be the greatest moment of your faith and identity being challenged. And so between this ministry, another local ministry who's here that does post-military programs, and then a third ministry that's in the center that actually is a facility that actually houses these two other ministries where they have their presence on site. These three ministries have formed an emergency response and relief center up in kind of the northern part of central Israel. And so together, these ministries have been working in tandem, still operating their own spheres of specific ministry, but coming together to say, hey, how can we work together now? How can we leverage resources now to do what God is calling us to do?
Yeah.
So hearing about the intake and all the distribution, keeping our ear to the ground of what units are saying they need what, and the word quickly spreads because we are a tight-knit body here in Israel.
Yeah.
And for me personally, my background, I come from FIRM, Fellowship of Israel-Related Ministries. I left them in May, but for about 5 years as part of their leadership team, and we spent time building deep relationships with 70-plus ministries in the land. So I illustrate this to say that all of us are connected with not just our own individual ministries, but within the larger network of ministries all around the country. And so there's a constant intake of where are the needs, how can we meet that need, how can we work together to meet a need, how can we do something else. So there's a lot of activity all throughout the land. But what's really special, especially with Randy and their ministry, is that, again, they built a relationship with these soldiers for years.
Yeah.
So they're getting the direct phone calls, or people are coming to say, hey, my unit is still lacking helmets. My unit is still lacking proper scopes, or whatever that need is. And so there's a personal relationship that's there in so many cases. But because of the word of mouth, and because of how elevated the body is right now in Israel in terms of addressing these needs, we're now getting requests coming in from all sorts of areas. Secular commanders and leaders and different people coming and seeing what's happening, say, can you help us too? We also have needs. So it's an amazing opportunity where the body is really able to shine very brightly. Yeah. And even at this emergency response center, we're working hand in hand with believers and non-believing volunteers coming together under the banner of Yeshua, under the banner of what we're doing, and saying, we're going to work together as one people, as one society to get the job done. So I just want to give context for that we're working to address the immediate needs, but we're also aware of, let's say, special or niche needs that sometimes the Army can't be aware of. And as they're working to continue to get all the needs for the troops, there's still gaps, there's still cracks that we're able to navigate and address the needs as they arise.
Yeah. Well, we definitely want to help in providing the physical needs, but you guys, you being believers in Yeshua, obviously can address the spiritual needs. Is the environment, or what's going on there, is opening people's minds and hearts up to, hey, what's going on here? Because obviously you both mentioned the spiritual aspects to it, and we're looking at it from outsiders saying, man, this is demonic. This is satanic, what they did, right? Are they able, is that opening people's minds up to that, to that spiritual reality, I guess?
Yeah. Randy, I don't know if you want to comment on this, but I can say from my perspective that, again, we've seen evil and we've seen stuff. We've looked it straight in the face. We've looked it straight in the face to a point that we haven't had the opportunity to do so. And I think, I'm sure Randy would say the same thing, but listen, anytime you see something that pops up on the news that says, oh, some rockets entered Israel, or there's a rocket attack, anyone who's here who has a rocket exploding over their house feels the intention that that's meant for my kids. That's meant for me. That's not just some random No, it is intended towards civilian populations. This is what they're doing. But now we got to actually meet that evil face on, and we got to see it, feel it, taste it. And we've gotten to see the reaction of half the world, which seems to embrace this evil on some level of insanity. Yeah. So look, I say that to say that I acknowledge that. I agree that we're looking at a very demonic, we're looking at that same spirit that's been here from the very beginning to eradicate our people, to keep the Messiah from coming, to keep him from coming again. Right. But I legitimately can say I've never, ever seen more opportunities to actually talk with my Jewish brothers and sisters about our faith and about how we as Jews can look at this time period in our lives, and how we as Jews can look back at Scripture. Because even tonight, I was having a conversation at the guard shack with my landlord, and he's talking about this hatred of the Jewish people that's always existed. but there's not a connection to scripture. There's not a connection to prophecy. And it's an immediate gateway to say like, hey, this isn't actually a surprise. I've been expecting this. We've been expecting this to happen.
Right.
And we don't know where we are in time, but that turning of the whole world against our people, we're seeing parts of that play out. And so for me, it's been a deeply sad, deeply troubling, deeply excruciating time. Yeah. Also an incredibly encouraging time. Again, I'm curious, Rand, if you have any thoughts similar, but for me, I've never had more open doors, had more conversations like I've had now.
Yeah, I will say that I think it's also very hard to process. We're still processing. I'm processing it with my wife. We're still crying at night because we're trying to understand. I mean, we're sitting and then it dawns on you and you just realize what happened a month ago, and you realize how deep it is. So people are still processing. The army is amazing. Again, we are a more religious country, we'll call it like that, and soldiers are reciting verses from Psalms, and then they're praying with Aaronic blessing on one another, and then they're singing the songs, and it's encouraging because they are calling out to the God of Israel. And it is encouraging also when I'm talking with the soldiers. We'll pray with them and we'll talk, and they'll just be like, you know what, it's like they're amazing because they're reciting all these verses, and Yeshua is lacking. Jesus, when that happens, it's going to be amazing when they make that connection. Yeah. But there is this courageousness right now that you see among the soldiers, and that's very spiritual too. There's just so many things. I was talking to one of the AV team, and it's just like it hasn't rained here yet. Where it's also very interesting. And I don't know if to look at it in a spiritual way or not, but it hasn't rained, and these soldiers they're not in the mud. Yeah, and it's like, so you're like, is this something that the Lord is doing and allowing this to happen in this kind of way? And just so many things that you're trying to connect. Earthquake in Turkey. I mean, there was before, but now I don't know. Just all kinds of things where we're trying to connect it. You want to spiritualize it. You don't want to over spiritualize it. You want to be in the spirit and just say, Lord, I want to be open. But yeah, people are talking. They're asking questions, and those who don't have the Lord, they're afraid. And I've had communications with people who wrote me and they know we're believers, and they'll say, how do you guys as believers, deal with all this anger? And I'm still texting, we're still texting, and she's meeting with my wife now and they're talking about the Lord, and she's like, I think I want a relationship with God. I want a relationship with Jesus, but how do I deal with this anger? And so you're like, there's open doors. So it's amazing. It really is amazing in that aspect.
Let me ask you guys both this question then. It looks like this is going to go on until Hamas is eliminated. And again, that's indefinite until they finish the job. Speak to our audience. Obviously, when you hear all these words in our press and the propaganda, even coming out of the leftist press in Israel saying that Israel needs to do a ceasefire. Explain why a ceasefire would be very dangerous to do that for Israeli soldiers.
Gabi, you can go ahead and start.
Oh, okay, great. I was going to let you go ahead and start. Dangerous. It would, how do I answer this question? It would be dangerous in the immediate, but much more, it would be repeating the same mistakes that we've found ourselves in for years. And I think this is where there's actually even a fearfulness within society here. I've heard it 2 nights ago. And I heard it again repeated today. We really hope that the West lets us get the job done this time. Yeah, that's a legitimate. Like, are we going to be stopped last minute again? Is our hand going to be, or is somebody going to force us to actually back away when we really need to eradicate this evil from our doorstep? So, look, if we were to pull out immediately, yes, there wouldn't be as much, let's say, immediate danger. We'd have some stop of the war to some extent, but it would be, if I can use the word, it would be asinine. It would be absolutely asinine for us to do this. Yeah. And so the prayer is that as the optics continue to intensify and the lies continue to intensify, that Israel would be able to hold strong to say, no matter what, we have to see this through to the very end. And that at least from the U.S., we continue to have the backing, hopefully also from Britain and maybe even Germany, they just allow us to hold and to actually get this job done. If we don't eradicate this, well, here's the real truth. We're always going to have enemies at our doorstep until the time when Yeshua returns, right? We get that. But in terms of immediate threat, this is an immediate threat that has an infrastructure like the world has never seen before. More and more reports are coming out. Just the sheer magnitude of the tunnel systems and the infrastructure. I mean, it's a nightmare. So if we don't eradicate this enemy from our doorstep, no question, are we going to see another, how do you say, it'll be an unmanageable situation for the future. And look, I don't think I'm saying anything new to you guys, but it's what we all know. We are dealing with a true terrorist, genocidal viewed organization. They want to eradicate our people. A ceasefire isn't a logical conclusion to that, because even by their own words, by their own deeds, even now they're saying, well, it would just be a ceasefire until we start attacking again. It's not, there is no end to this until we say, unless you totally do a 180, which they're not going to, and change your ideology and mindset and your creed and everything, there's no peace. This is a terrorist organization that we must eliminate. And honestly, this is the only way that Palestinians in Gaza will ever have a chance of any type of peaceful life whatsoever. And even that's a stretch, but that's really the extreme of where I see it.
Good point. Randy, go ahead, man.
Well, it's really hard. You see it, especially in this kind of generation. And this is, I guess, when you understand that it is war, and war means it has a huge meaning behind it. And there's a lot of things that go on. And when you understand that you're at war, it's not just Hamas, you're at war with other countries who are fueling this whole system. And it's very, again, spiritual. It's very political. Things you see on the news is not exactly what's going on. If America's saying, hey, we want you guys to have a ceasefire. All right, you see that on the news. You don't know if, inside phone calls are saying, guys, keep going. It's okay. I just have to do this because everyone's looking at me. So there's all kinds of games going on with the media, all kinds of different media systems that they have different contacts in all kinds of ways. And it's really important to understand that if we were to stop right now and have a ceasefire, it would allow them to just reorganize. Right now, they're running, they're afraid, they're confused. Israel's trying to be as best as possible. I mean, you're having people die, and it's horrible. But you're trying to get people, Palestinians, trying to get them out. Joel Rosenberg said something very interesting, those who know him, but he said, in the end, if you curse Israel, you will be cursed. Are there good Palestinians? They're lovely Palestinians. They're people that are beautiful and they're kind. But in the end, in a multitude of people, when you're cursing Israel and when you slaughter them and then you praise that is a curse towards the country. And we believe scripture, and we believe if you curse Israel, you will be cursed. And this is part of that curse where you're bringing that upon yourself. And praise the Lord that we have friends and we have allies, and the Lord has given different countries that will support. America is one of them. I mean, hearing Israelis talk about how, who's backing us up? It's not, they don't say America. They say the evangelical Christians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's even in the news. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Amen.
But they're seeing it, even if people are just coming over with suitcases, you have all the politicals trying to get planes over, containers, people are just coming, taking flights, taking 4 suitcases, coming over with stuff and leaving it at the airport and flying back.
Yeah.
And people are like, what? It's like, no, this is from our church. We love you guys, and they're trying to make connections. And it was in the newspaper. They're saying Israelis need to understand why evangelicals are supporting Israel.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Open doors.
Let me ask you another question for both of you. So Israel goes in and is going to finish Hamas off. Do you think that brings in Iran and Hezbollah? Because Iran is saying, look, you eliminate Hamas, we're coming after you. Do you think that triggers everything? What in your opinion, will be next after this?
You want to take this one first, Randy?
You're fighting an ideology.
Yeah.
And you're fighting a system that, if it's not Hamas, it'll be something else. Israel was waiting for Hezbollah to make a move, and that's why everyone was waiting for Nasrallah to make his speech, and his speech was very useless in that matter. And so Israel, the amount of reserves that Israel has right now is not present. Like, it hasn't happened. Yeah. This amount of people. That's why there's a lack of equipment, because there's so many people. Yeah. They have 150% more of what they usually will take in or say that they can have. So you have 50% of people needing things. That's why all these needs are coming up, because there is no equipment. but the amount of firepower you have at the borders is extreme. And so everyone is, showing their muscles right now. And Israel is basically saying we're very serious. And it's being done in all kinds of military ways. Just if it's, attacking certain things in Lebanon. Iran sees it also. Yemen, Yemen shouting out we're at war with Israel too. And everyone's kind of making jokes at that. But it's just a very honorable Arab a tribal way of saying, oh, we did it before Hezbollah. We said we're at war with Israel before everyone. And in the end, Hezbollah said, we're not going in because, again, you have America, we'll call it the West, coming in and saying, hey, we have ships out here. We have missiles, we have planes, we have submarines. You guys all need to rethink your strategy. And so in the end, Israel's going forward, and I think Israel sees that open door, and Israel is moving forward to take Hamas out.
Good.
Not only in Gaza, in the West Bank as well. There's things going on in the West Bank that are not on media. It's deep and it's being taken care of.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Gabriel.
And I'll just add to that and say that there is so many different theories, so many different assumptions. I think even when this war, broke out from the attacks on the 7th, I think all of us were waiting with bated breath. Is Hezbollah going to immediately join in? Are we going to go from just having rockets from Hamas in Gaza to having literally rain of heavier missiles coming from the north? So this was actually part of what made these first few weeks so challenging, was that you were just in this, what extended to a very long waiting period. But that question of, well, at what point is something going to trigger? At what point is Hezbollah going to join? At what point is Yemen going to start firing more cruise missiles than there? So we're still in the place of the unknown. Yeah. And I think what's important for people to realize, especially if you're hearing reports here from the ground, look, today was one of the first days where I'm like, wow, the traffic seems almost back to normal. That's really weird. Like, things are almost starting to feel a bit more normal here in the country in terms of in many cities. But that's an illusion that could quickly fade away. In a blink of a moment, we could have a totally different war, a totally different crisis. And so this is the important thing, that I don't have the answer. We don't know. How does Iran join in? How could Hezbollah join in? What else could happen? Russia's posturing. Everyone's been trying to posture here and there.
Sure.
But either way, for us, it's just to remain vigilant. Yeah. And I think as we've been talking internally, it's realizing that, hey, we have to continue to focus on meeting the needs on the ground today that we know. Yeah. But we have to be wise enough and smart enough to see that at any moment something could change. So what does that conflict look like? How are we prepared to address those issues? And then beyond all that, either way, whether it's this month, next month, a year from now, 10 years from now, we're going to be back here again at some point. So how do we really totally change the trajectory of how we're looking at both ministry on the spiritual sense and also the practical sides of ministry, to say, how are we going to be ready for that event? How are we going to be ready for, again, when missiles are raining down and they overwhelm the Iron Dome system to the point where people are permanently situated in shelters? These are very real things. And I can say this, again, different perspectives, but I think there's many who share a feeling of, this feels like a rehearsal. This feels like we had an opportunity to step into a time, both in a spiritual sense and in a practical sense, where we've seen evil come to light. We've seen the evil around the world embrace this, or embrace Hamas in just the most utterly terrible ways. But we've also had the ability to ourselves get prepared and say, hey, how are we prepared spiritually? How are we prepared mentally, practically? And so who knows what the next weeks will bring? Yeah. But the feeling is this has been an opportunity for us to really have a wake-up call, and to be able to strategize how we navigate the next challenge.
Yeah. I like what you said about it being a dress rehearsal for maybe something else. I think that's spot on, man. And when you hear of these other nations posturing, like you say, like Turkey and Russia and everyone else, I mean, one of the guys from Russia, I can't remember his name, but he was saying, hey, we're going to go join the Palestinians in their fight against the Jews. And you're like, whoa, wow. So let me ask you this final question. How's the morale there in Israel with the Jewish people and the IDF soldiers? How's their morale?
I would say that it's very high. There's a lot of confidence. Again, I think a lot of the older generation are very embarrassed. They're connecting this and kind of making it like the Yom Kippur War almost, like we were caught off guard and that we have firepower, and you can see we have all the capabilities to handle this. And so so you're dealing with that hurt, and that conversation is very heavy. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say that there's blaming going on, but there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of embarrassment. There's a lot of, you have kids that are kidnapped. You have, families that are completely obliterated. You have, it's so heavy, and everyone is still trying to understand what's going on. But in the end, all the soldiers who are they are at full strength, courageous, go ahead, we're here, and we're going to protect the country. And so I would say that the morale is very high. And again, you had the first 2 weeks, which logistically for the army was almost impossible. And that's just Israel. Everyone goes to the military. It's a draft thing. And so everyone just got connected and helped all the soldiers for the first 2 weeks. It was the whole country just helping out. So, so I would say morale is very high.
Yeah.
Gabby, go ahead, man.
Is it okay if I can comment on that? Yeah, I want to go back to something that Randy said earlier, which is I fully agree that overall morale is high, but we do see the pockets of those who don't have faith. I've seen also the bewilderment and sorrow because they are just lost in this moment. So we have this kind of dichotomy of, as a nation, especially in the military, like there's the, Am Israel Chai, like the people of Israel live, like this passion of like, we're here, we're going to stand, we're going to take ground, we're going to get the job done. But then you have the pockets of people who are left on the sidelines who are just dealing with the sorrow of what's happened, or trying to deal with the sorrow of what's happened. And especially again, for those who don't have faith, you see that some people are lost. You see it. At least I've seen it on my friends' faces, secular friends' faces. But I will say this: we are moving forward as a nation, as we do, in trauma and in trial. This is what we do. But as already also said, we haven't actually had the full moment to grieve. None of us have really even fully wrestled with what happened on the 7th, and we probably won't be able to fully wrestle with it for some time to come, because when you are working to just simply move forward and address what's in front of you, what's coming down the pike, you don't have time to actually focus on your own feelings and to internalize and to mourn and to process. I'm not saying that no one is, but my point is that there's going to be healing that this nation's going to need for a long time to come, that we're all going to need. And we're not trying to ignore what's bubbling on the surface within each of our own hearts. But right now it's kind of like there is no option but to stay vigilant and to stay hopeful and to stay moving forward, because we can't afford right now to crawl into a hole. You know what I mean? Like we have to find that balance of being real and being honest, but saying, but hey, we're gonna keep moving forward. And so what I would even say is that, as you guys are praying, as you guys are taking all the amazing ways you guys have been taking a stand with Israel and the Jewish people, I think pray for genuine rest for the believing community and for all those around the country to be able to enter into brain's not working so well at a little after 5 in the morning.
That's all right.
Into a supernatural level of rest where we might not be getting the practical sleep that we need, but where God's actually breathing through us and allowing us to do what needs to be done, but not in a way where we are killing ourselves or not be able to be the full light that we can be. So that I think that's a sincere prayer for all of us, because we're entering the marathon, as we've said here locally. Like we're entering the marathon season of this war, and we need to take it, each day at a time.
Yeah. Well, hey, my friends, I've kept you too long, and I hope I can bring you back another time, maybe another Wednesday, and you guys can give us a briefing. But I'm going to tell our folks how to help, and we're going to do what we can to do, not only pray for you and lift you guys up, but also provide, physically for you guys. And so, just let the people know there in Israel, hey, we've got your back. We'll do whatever we can do. And if the Lord opens doors for us, we're going to try to do our best to help you all the way through this, man, till the very end. So thank you guys for joining us. And I know it's early in the morning there, but we appreciate it, brothers. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
God bless you guys.
Be well.
All right, man. So I spoke to Uriel this morning, and it was nighttime there, and so I want you to hear from him for a little bit. So let me get that rolling here for you. So, hey, Yuri, tell us how you're doing, how your troops doing. What's the latest, man?
Sure. So it's been a month since we have called back in Israel and started the first 4 weeks deployed in the Gaza Strip. And then we've been like a week and a half in the north border, making sure that people are going to be safe in the north border. And then we got new technology that's we're going to operate in Gaza Strip. And we arrived Gaza Strip this week. And we are planning to do some intense operation to find and gather more intelligence to keep the hostages back home, to bring them back home. So a lot of our effort right now focus on to bring these ladies and babies and elders and women and men that's right now held by Hamas, by ISIS, into the Gaza village, into the Gaza Strip, and so that's basically what we are planning to do right now.
So are you guys aware of how many hostages do they still have and who it is? Or do you have a number?
Yeah, more than 200 hostages, like 240.
Okay, more than 200.
240 hostages being held by Hamas. I know that we're doing some diplomatic effort to bring them back home, but it seems that it's not going to be something that Hamas going to just like let people go because they are uninvolved in all of that. So we will gather the intelligence that's needed, and we will do everything that's needed in order to bring them home safe. So that's our responsibility.
Let me ask you this: if you can reveal this or not, I'm not sure. But is the strategy to go in? And is Hamas in these tunnels? Where are they at, Yuri?
So I assume it's more of stuff I can't share, but Israel intelligence doing a lot of effort to discover all the places that the hostages being held and all the places that missiles and rockets being held. And our main goal and mission right now is to bring these hostages back home and destroy all the weapons and the missiles that Hamas has.
Yeah. Have you guys discovered the weapons there in your? So you found weapons.
We found weapons. We found a lot of weapons. We find rockets. We find new type of rockets that we never saw before. These guys putting a lot of time and effort just to make intense level.
Really?
That's what the folk at Hamas like. I even went in to a place and I saw like a small cupboard, and I thought to myself, okay, that's like a baby's stuff or kid stuff. So just like want to go by and don't touch anything. People, I hope the family will be able to get back them soon. Once Hamas just leaving, it was like a tunnel inside this house, like in the garden of this house. So like a lot of uninvolved people, but probably they are involved because they got tunnel that Hamas is using into the place. And one thing that just catch my eyes, it was like a calendar, a physical calendar.
Oh, really?
It was this year calendar, and I saw like October, and catch my eyes like the picture of the calendar.
Okay.
I'm used to theme in calendar, so whenever like I was a boy in school, so we had like a soccer player, and we got like famous singers and Bibles and whatever. And then I saw pictures of Zionists killed by Hamas on the school calendar.
Really, on the school calendar?
Yeah,
wow.
And then I was flipping months. And then I saw like another like a picture of like Israeli soldier taken by Hamas into a tunnel, and a lot of stuff that I don't want any kind of children to grow on and to be educated. And you know, it's not easy. Everything that's right now we're facing, but we're still highly motivated, and we have a lot of hopes that by the end of all of this, we'll be able to build like a peaceful place and be in a normal life. Because I don't see any reasons that we as Jews who not have like amazing relationship with the Palestinians, who just want to leave in Gaza Strip. And I do believe that there are some people over there, probably not so much as I was thinking, because like they were voting for Hamas, and Hamas was like been in a democratic process and been elected by the people of Gaza. But whenever I saw the education and what they are teaching their young boys and girls, something in my hope was, okay, it will take more time than I thought in order to bring some peace into this place. And that means there's some work to be done.
Yeah, a lot of work. Yeah, we've seen some of the clips of how they educate their preschoolers and videos of their children. And it's basically indoctrination is what we have seen with the children in the Gaza. And so that's scary. It's scary to know that's going on. Let me ask you this, because we've seen reports that a lot of the Gazans are trying to get out, and they have been, and Israel has been allowing them to get out, but then Hamas has been trying to stop them. And then they actually fired on Israeli soldiers that were trying to let some of the civilians out. So do you know anything about that?
Yeah, like, more than no, like, my brother went into Gaza Strip a week and a half ago. I haven't heard anything from him for a week and a half, and I was quite worried in the past week and a half. Yesterday, I got the opportunity, and he called me right after we went out of the Gaza Strip to refresh, and asking, like, what was your mission? He said, my mission was just to secure the path that people and unable people can just going south and just leave the places that Hamas is like operating all the terror on our locations.
Right.
And he told me like that he saw in his eyes, women came to him whenever she was crossing like the roads that they can cross in order to go to a safe place as we are allowing to the people in Gaza. And he told him in Arabic, we heard some people shooting on us, but it wasn't like the Israeli soldiers.
Yeah.
And then he told me that she gave him a kiss.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. So they appreciated it, the help they're getting then from you guys. Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
We try. It's not easy. And in a war, there are some casualties, and we're feeling very bad for these casualties, and we're trying to do everything that we can, and we're doing and putting a lot of effort to make sure that vulnerable people will be out of it. But I for sure see, I haven't seen it in my eyes, but I heard it from my brother, is it's some people in Gaza Strip do not take advantage of it and just like being human.
Yeah. We heard reports, obviously, that Hamas is, using, they have their bases under hospitals. We hear they're using Gazans for human shields and stuff like that. Is that the same reports you guys are hearing?
Yeah. Okay. I've been also seeing in my eyes school.
At the school, huh?
At the school, I opened the map and I got like whatever I need to find, like the tunnel. And then I saw a school. And then I went to my intelligence officer and I told him, it's probably a mistake because I see a school. He said, no, don't be naive. So they're taking advantages of hospitals and schools and public communities, places, everything they can in order to make like civil infrastructure as a human shield and try to go with like their horrible things they're trying to do.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. It sounds like you guys are going to be doing this for quite a while. Do they estimate any time frames when they want to end this? I mean, is it, you're talking months or as long as it takes? What's been the directives for you guys? We're going to just do this until it's done?
Whenever the Jewish people went out of Egypt and walked in the desert, and then they came to Israel, and then they started to conquer Israel, I assume nobody asked how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
Why? Because you protecting your land and you do everything that you need. So I got a lot of things in my life, and we have chatted about it last time since we spoke, and Also, it's the first time, actually, a week ago, it was the first time that I went to our offices in Tel Aviv. So we got like a New York office, and we got like an office in Tel Aviv. It was the first time I just like had 24 hours off, and I went to the office. And I saw all the people, and everybody told me, yeah, how you doing? And we're missing you. And we obviously seeing some slowing down because startup life are crazy. And I see that not only me, we got like 25% of the people that are right now on reserve and deployed in Gaza and the North border. And there are a lot of things. And I spoke with my wife, and she told me, hey, maybe you can stay a little bit more. And it's hard. And for sure, it's hard. But we will do everything it's needed, because right now we're writing the history. Right now, we're not fighting just for Israel. I think we're fighting for all the Western world. And
you really are. I think you're right. I mean, because Israel stands for, its Judeo-Christian values. That's the West, and we're seeing a lot of backlash, obviously, with people that are anti-Semitic, just hate Israel. We're seeing this in the United States and around the world that are supporting these terrorists, and we're a little shocked, but I guess we shouldn't be. But the Jews are God's people, and what we see, Yuri, is this hatred towards God really foisted at the Jewish people. And you guys are doing exactly what you need to be doing. You're going in there and taking care of business. This is terrorism, and yet the world's calling Israel to do a ceasefire. And can you speak to, if you guys did a ceasefire, how that would actually aid Hamas? Can you explain that?
In one day, one peaceful weekend, somebody was crazy and evil enough to send a command, and 3,000 people just crossed the border and killed more than 1,400 people.
Yeah.
Just for a mere command. And whenever these evil forces thought to themselves that something like that can happen, and they thought that it's going to be reasonable, and then they didn't have a second thought, they just did it.
Yeah.
I need to be sure that it's not going to happen again. And right now, I'm getting a lot of messages, and I'm calling my friends in, just like my neighbors in New York that are not feeling comfortable to send their kids to schools, and my family and in Los Angeles and in Cali, they're talking about we're not feeling comfortable to speak loud like a Hebrew or expose that we're Jewish. It's crazy. Yeah. So it started in Gaza. But it's all over the world. Yeah. And whenever you're seeing the evil forces, you can't stop and say, let's do a ceasefire. We will not do a ceasefire whenever we have like more than 200 hostages being held by Hamas.
Right.
For sure, I would be more than happy to do a ceasefire, but please start bringing all the hostages back. Otherwise, you're just going to take the time and prepare themselves to do like another terror attacks.
Yeah. No, I agree with you totally. It's insane for anyone to call for a ceasefire when you're hostages, and quite frankly, Hamas needs to be wiped out. They're a terrorist organization. They committed atrocities on the level, it was a mini Holocaust is really what that was, what they did. And we heard of babies being put in the ovens and beheadings. I mean, very, very inhumane, cruel things. And so, we're hearing this anti-Semitic rhetoric of ceasefire, and it's like, you guys have no idea. You have to take care of this. You have to deal with this. Now, let me ask you this, Yuri. There's no doubt Israel's going to take care of this, and you guys are going to do your job and finish the job. Do you foresee that this could set off Hezbollah in the north, or Iran, or other players like Islamic Jihad, or the Houthis now in Yemen? Will this? Do you see more of this happening from these other terrorist organizations?
So I've been deployed a week in the north border, and we did some work over there. And definitely, we think that the same evil forces that's being operated by Hamas in October 7, and the same people and the same forces are up north and by Houthis, and obviously everything started by Iran.
Yeah.
And my answer for that is we have to be strong and we have to be united.
Yeah.
If we are going to be strong and we're going to stand strong and we're going to say, yes, we will right now, we'll do everything that we need to do in order to make sure that nobody will ever think that you can do this kind of stuff. So Hassan Nasrallah and Hezbollah and Khamenei in Iran and all the Houthis that right now attacking like the U.S. military base, they will never thought again because they know that whatever they are doing, they're going to be a response.
Yes.
And I want to share something.
Yeah, go ahead.
By myself, after I finished my my duty in Israel, it was like 8 years ago. I thought to myself, I did my part. And right now, let's put all my time and effort to make some peace. And I thought to myself, yeah, Hamas want to live by us and we should go and help them by economy. And I don't think that's war going to be again. We got all the international institutions and the economy, and that's going to be the next fight.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. I was trying to advocate for peace and helping Hamas. And actually, I was supporting Hamas, and I was like totally mistake. Right now, whenever I saw like October 7th, and whenever I saw anti-Semitic, I just return back to the stories that my grandfather and grandmother just told me that's been in the World War II. And I thought that in the Western world, it would never happen again.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to chase Jews just for the mere fact they are Jewish.
Right.
But I saw it in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, you see it. And that's the thing we understand is it's an impossible situation to live side by side with a group that wants to kill you. I mean, there can be no peace when someone is religiously driven to say from the river to the sea, we're going to wipe out all of Israel. And it's a fool's dream. And a lot of the UN and people think that, oh yeah, we can live side by side with these types of this monstrous mentality, and you can't. You can't have peace with people that want to kill you, and you're realizing that, and so you got to go in there and deal with Hamas and deal with Hezbollah or whoever you got to deal with, because we're dealing with a genocidal mentality. It looks like, and even in the West, we don't understand. I guess it's a spiritual thing where all this anti-Semitism coming from our colleges and universities in America and obviously the left. And it's like, where did this come from? Where did these people want to support Hamas? And we're seeing more and more of it. And it's like you say, worldwide. It's very concerning. And so we want to just make sure you guys understand there's an element in America, the Christian evangelicals that are fully supporting you and fully backing you. So here's the last few things, and then I'll let you go. What do you guys need, Yuri? Is there anything else, supplies, whatever we can somehow get to you?
So the first thing, and it's always the most important thing, it's the spirit. And just to know that everything and all the reporting that I'm getting from schools in the U.S. and like the top schools and like people who are just calling for ceasefires, but hearing a rational voice that's supporting us and standing with us united, it's like, that means tons more than everything. That's huge for us.
Yeah.
So like, first it's your support. And the second thing, it's a war. And I think right now, whenever like the intensity of whatever that we need to do in order to get in is like getting a bit higher. So we're seeing the importance of medical supply and giving like emergency treatment to soldiers who are in the field and got injured. So I know there are like some initiatives that people are supporting and helping to bring like more advanced supply. And I can share a link to like one of the initiatives that's my battalion try to buy like more like advanced ultrasounds and special bags for doctors who coming and helping the soldiers.
Great. Yeah. If on that WhatsApp, if you'll send me that link, I'll share that with people. and we'll do everything we can to get that help to you. We're working off also with Joan, and you know Joan Peace.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing. By the way, the vest that's right now protecting me, it's not like an army shield. It's just like the stuff that's protecting me. It's not like a weapon. So that's like a life protecting life agreement that I got from John, and we're getting a lot of support and warm clothes, and that's amazing.
Well, we're going to work through her and getting more supplies with her connections, and so we're going to try to get the churches here that are on board to adopt different troops to supply you all the troops as much as we can, and so we're working on that behind the scenes. So. Hopefully in the next few weeks, you'll start seeing those supplies come in for you guys. So because we want to support you, we want to do everything we can to help you and boost your morale, because I know it's hard what you're seeing on the ground, a lot of death. It's hard to see war. But to know that, hey, we got other people that are for you and praying for you. I just want you to know that, and we're going to continue to supply you as long as it takes,
And that's amazing. That means a lot for us. I'm trying to get like a confirmation to send the names of the guys in the troop so you can pray for specific people.
Yes, that would be great. And even if you have to do a code name, if they don't want to give their names out, you can just send that to me or Joan, and we'll be praying for you. We've been praying for your troop in general. But if they want specific prayer, we'll do that for them as well.
That's amazing.
All right, man. Well, I know you're busy and you're getting ready to go on patrol, it sounds like. So I'm going to let you get running, and I'll touch base with you maybe in next week or so and see how you're doing. But if you need anything, just text me on the WhatsApp, okay?
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, and all the church and all the support that you are providing us.
Okay, my friend. All right, I'll let you get going. God bless you, Yuri. See you later, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So you heard right from the horse's mouth, no media. You went directly to the IDF tonight and hearing from them directly what's going on. Now, what you can do if you we're going to continue to support them. And there's other opportunities that we're working on behind the scenes, okay? And I will let you know of those opportunities. But right now, what they're wanting is, again, more equipment, more medical supplies. And again, the only thing we need to worry about is how to fund that. So way to do that, go to our website if you want to help them. Just go to our Rock Harbor website, go to the Giving tab, and then you want to put on the Giving tab, Bless Israel Fundraiser. And that they have already set that up. So you go on there, Bless Israel Fundraiser, and you can give directly, and that's going right to, there it is right there, going to Well Versed. And it's the context of Well Versed that we talked with Gabby, and we talked with Randy, and that's getting that money on the ground, getting those supplies, and then out to the troops. So that's how we're given to them. So that's Israel Bless Israel fundraiser on that. And then also our conference coming up, the proceeds are obviously going to go towards that as well. But in the future, there's going to be other ways to help. Okay. And so I want you to take it before the Lord and ask the Lord, what would you have me to do, Lord? Because I'm going to give you those opportunities once we get things set on the ground and what we can do. And even it might be like you just heard them, where we send you over with luggage and you give the supplies and you come back. So there might be opportunities where you go with luggage and you're taking those supplies and you hand it off and you come back. And so we're working on those types of things. So I want you to keep that in mind, that, hey, we might need you to fly to Israel and drop off luggage or something like that and then come back. I don't know. We're working on that, but I'll let you know. Folks, as you can see, we have a responsibility to help Israel, and we can. And in this broadcast, we showed you ways of helping Israel. Continue to pray for them, pray for their salvation, obviously, and pray for their work against Hamas and Hezbollah and all the other countries in this world that want to destroy them. We really need to be the salt and light in supporting Israel, okay? Anyway, what you can do for us as well, for our ministries, can pray for our ministry, because when we take these stances in support of Israel, we get a lot of backlash, and we get a lot of push from not only the satanic realm and the demonic realm, but even from the human realm as well. And so continue to pray for us. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our videos, and make sure that you're on our text alert system, because we want to be able to text you and email you. So follow this link. It'll show you how to do that. And then also, if the Lord puts it on your heart to help us financially, that would be fantastic. We have a lot of things that we have to do. We have to pay for this broadcast and all the production costs that go into making sure the online broadcast keeps going on. We also have to pay our bills for our church. We got a brand new building. We got to pay that off. So we owe about $3 million on that. So we got to pay that down. We got to buy a parking lot and for more parking. And so just anything the Lord puts on your heart to help us, man, we would appreciate it and be able to continue to do our ministry. So anyway, remember what the Lord said. When you see these things begin to happen, look up, lift up your heads, because your redemption draws near. God bless you. We'll see you next time.